We're super excited to have an incredible guest with us here today. We've got John Phillips, who heads up global talent acquisition at Starbucks, and a heck of a lot more, which he's going to talk to us about. So welcome, John.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
John, since you and I have been chatting a lot over the past years, I've been blown away by how engaged you are in the role you're in at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what makes the job you're in so unique in this profession of talent.
It's unique in a couple of ways. One is we're doing things at massive scale, with a tune of hundreds of thousands of hires a year, and we're doing it across the global marketplace. So what it has is a major platform to be able to drive change, to drive not only performance of the company, but to look at it from a different lens. And you'll hear us talk a lot about being a performance-driven company through the lens of humanity. And what I get to live on a day-to-day basis in my role is actually what that means, and how do you activate against humanity. And so it's just a different role, it's a different platform, and I'm just grateful to have it.
Talk to us about some of the programs you guys are doing, 100,000 initiative, et cetera. Talk to us about specifically these programs and sort of how they manifest in the lives of
the humanity of
people. Yeah, the humanity of it.
Yeah, so there's one of the things that's core to our being at Starbucks and the way that we make decisions is we can't be bystanders of what's going on in the world. And so you turn on the TV right now and you're going to see a fractured level of humanity across the globe.
That's true.
And we need to figure out what is our role and responsibility in that. And so what it shows up is a couple things. You look at the College Achievement Plan as an example. It first starts with evidence that you just can't sit still on, which is the number one predictor of getting a college degree is the zip code you grew up in. And I think we can agree that that is not right. And so then once you understand that, you have to do something about it. And because we don't stand on the sidelines, it means let's go create a college achievement plan. Let's give access to education to folks that haven't been able to do it.
If I can start for
that.
Define college achievement plan.
Yeah. So our college achievement plan is a partnership with Arizona State University online, and it's a completely free education for anyone who works 20 hours a week or more with us. So we're talking about part-time employees. Yeah.
That's how many take advantage of that though? Because you've got several 100,000.
Yeah, so we currently have 6,000 enrolled.
All right.
Our goal is to graduate 25,000 by 2025. So if you can imagine what we're doing is we're actually creating almost a university-like setting. We will be graduating more than some universities from this program in the coming years.
Is there a segment in which they're taking advantage of this education more than others? This is all purely U.S.-based, you're global?
Yeah, so right now it's a U.S.-based because the fracturing in the U.S. is, it's a different thing. So student debt is actually greater than credit card debt in the United States. Another factor of say, what do we do with this? And so those are the things that you say, well, we have to do something. That's not the same in every country. We actually did just launch it in Korea, where they have some similar challenges, and so that's a good spot where we're taking it global, but we started within the U.S.
So in terms of tenure of your partners,
yeah.
With all these amazing programs, are they staying longer? Are they seeing the value return for themselves, their family? I mean, what's the impact on engagement and tenure?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think our engagement is really good, and I would say that is in a challenging space right now. I mean, it is, for the business we're in, it is, there's a lot in the press right now about what's happening and what the needs of people are. And what we do is continue to try to create differentiation. I'd say our college achievement plan, those that are enrolled are staying. I mean, they're almost entirely staying. I mean, why would you give that up? It's a huge benefit.
Until you graduate,
our opportunity youth are actually staying and performing better than our normal hires, which is a great statistic around ROI for those that are thinking what's in it for the company. It's a huge thing. We didn't do it for that, but it's a great benefit for us. And so retention's good, engagement's good. There's a lot more to be done though. Yeah, it feels like we're just getting started.
And what, advice for a recruiter at a small company, someone in a very different type of industry? I mean, you're talking about some really important topics that, they're undeniable for anyone who has a beating heart in their chest.
Yeah.
But what does that mean for me if I'm a recruiter at a 50-person company that manufactures some product?
Without getting too preachy about it, what I'd say is I think what I would say is the role and responsibility of recruiting has been somewhat marginalized over the years. And if you think of it as literally the gatekeeper to what your company is, whether it's the talent you bring in, whether it's the change you want to drive, whether it's the type of profile you want to bring in the company, you have a choice when you're sourcing and selecting people to make a different choice than maybe you've made in the past just to fill your jobs. It may be harder, But if you look at it as a responsibility through that lens of what's happening when I turn on the TV and what is my role in that, you may uncover that you have biases in your recruiting process. So maybe your only role is to say, let me think hard about where I have unnatural biases and what I would do differently if I was trying to solve the problem I'm looking at through the TV set. Mm-hmm. And that may be a small thing, but it's going to start chipping away at this problem.
And so if I'm a recruiter with 5 years of experience, how should I even say that? Like what sentences do I string together to go talk to Pat, who's the owner of the company, to say, hey Pat, it's Brendan from the HR team.
Yeah, so let me say this, and this is just one guy's philosophy here, which is I've grown a career on being disruptive and not asking for permission to do things. What I would say is I don't think there's going to be an executive you're going to come across that says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hire for purpose. I'm going to hire people that have high integrity. I'm going to hire people with grit. I'm going to hire people that have high empathy. If someone tells you that they don't want those things, I honestly think you should look for another job.
So that's like table stakes.
That's
just
like
humanity.
Yeah. That's just it.
So just
who
like
can reject humanity?
Got it.
But then you say, when you start to get it at scale, when you're smaller, it's just about the day-to-day tactics on how do I learn from others? How do I read things around purpose? How do I read how to assess? What assessment tools are out there? How can I do this? But at the small level, it's just take a step.
Yeah.
And then when you need to systematically build it, then look for assessments. That's when you need your CHROs and executives to buy into the difference. But you don't have to ask permission to be great at doing this.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
In closing, what's the one piece of advice you would give to people that are watching, no matter what level role they're in, that they should start doing differently immediately?
I don't want it to sound cliche, but just take some time to process the environment you grew up in and the things you were exposed to. Because we're at a time where there is fear, anger, trepidation, divide, and it's because we don't know what to do with difference. And that's not your fault. It's just, but if you go in with blinders, then it will become your fault. It'll become a blind spot and a lens that we just can't afford to have. And so what I'd say is challenge yourself every day to find difference, engage with difference, and teach yourself something.
Great advice.
Yeah.
I like it.
John, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
It's awesome hanging out.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
See you next time.